Hey, what's up, guys? It's Songers here. We're going to be doing a console to console duel tier list, all right? So this is not you playing against a PC player, right? This is console v console. You know, this is what I'm going to be doing towards. This is what my content has always kind of been towards, just to kind of give you an expectation of, you know, what should be going on. And my merits are, when you look on Xbox right now, I'm ranked 8th in GM. I used to run a competitive team, TSB. We did pretty well. We went 4th, 3rd, 2nd in the Dominion series for Xbox, and we had a team that won the Brawl Championship. That is Caelid was part of that team, right? And he was also the one who helped me make this list, as he has in many of the past videos. So if you think that my judgment is bad, you know, maybe the guy that fought Barracky and took 2 games, you might take his judgment. So let's just get off, let's just talk about the state of duels as they are. Not as complex as they used to be, for sure, and it's more about offensive reads more than ever. Now in this game, I would say offensive reads really did always rule, especially on console, but nowadays it's so prevalent, and this list will reflect that, as you'll see a general power creep in more characters being put higher, and etc., etc. Also, Medjay doesn't have a spot, and I will let you know where I think Medjay will go at the end. But he's not one of the characters listed here. I didn't want to go in and make an entire new one. I just took one. It's the most up-to-date one I could find. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. We're going to place Kiyoshin. He is going to be at the very top of A-. He is one of those characters that I would consider like a noob stomper, right? If you don't have very good reaction times, Kiyoshin is pretty darn difficult to deal with. Very basic kit, very strong in its own way, very Black Prior-esque in its gameplay. Even at high level play, it is still usable. With that bash, and the all guard properties are unbelievable. Breaks the rules of the game sometimes, but just not quite enough for it to be considered any stronger than that. Another new character, we're going to put Pirate in the A tier. I mean, decent dodge attack. Obviously, they nerfed it. But hyper armor unblock, probably one of the best openers in the game, with a hyper armor unblockable from neutral. And obviously his 50-50s. Her 50-50s are super strong. One of those low skill cap characters that's just good, just because of the way the game's designed. So not much to say about Pirate. Pirate's still really strong. We're going to go to Warden. Used to be the king in this game. He's going to be an A-. And he's a lot better in theory than he is in practice. You need to have pretty good neutral game to really effectively use Warden well if you have bad reaction time. Warden's going to be a lot tougher. He's probably going to be in the B+, B- range, honestly. But yeah, I mean, he has all the tools, right? So to speak, with the unblockable and the nice variably timed bash, so to speak. But he's just it just almost seems like it's never really in his favor, and it's really easy to get out of his mix-up. So he'll remain an A-. Used to be one of the kings of this game. Conqueror. He's going to be at the very top of A tier. The rework moved him out of S tier finally. He's kind of a new, different beast. His defense with the deflect is good. His offense, obviously, with all the unblockables and that, you end up feigning the unblockable to bash a lot of the times, because that's the value. But still a monstrously strong character. We're going to put Kiyoshin, we're going to put PK at about A-. She has the same kit as Raider, just slightly different applied. That bleed she's a glass cannon right now. 38 damage on guard break. The bleeds add up quickly, giving her insane advantage, and it's super easy for her to get their bleed. She's really let down by her range. I believe she might have the single worst range in the game. Once she gets you in close, she can have ways of grabbing you. But yeah, closing that distance is very difficult for a peacekeeper, especially against, let's say, a character like Raider, a character like Gladiator, a character like, if you have bad reaction times, Nabushi and Kensei can keep PK at bay for the majority of the game without her really even, getting to there. Or characters like Shigoki and Hitakiri will always be kind of choosing when the interaction starts. A character like Berserker too. So you're going to have to be playing defensive a lot. And her defense is a lot weaker than her offense, which is the problem. But if you can get that offense going, there is a lot of potential there. Just really strong offense in general. And it's one of those characters you can use offensively against PC people as well. We're going to go with Lawbringer. So this is taking into consideration peak knowledge and all this stuff. Lawbringer, it played at max potential, is around A-, right? In reality, for most people, he's going to be somewhere in here, right? You need to have insane knowledge, really good reaction times as well. But, that Stamplaw's Bash, always nice to have, right? Chain Pressure, phenomenal on Lawbringer. Neutral game, hot dog water. But if you have really good reaction times, you can get use of his really good punishes and get to your chains really quickly. You can make them work. Not saying that he's going to work for everybody. That's what it is. Set B-, especially with these stam changes. He is just abysmal. He used to be kind of right in here, right? But that was because if he got you out of stamina, he could 0 to 100 anybody in the game with the vast amount of punishes, he had access to. But, now that that's taken away, it took away a lot of what made him a good character. Now he's essentially a worse version of Hitakiri, Warden, and Warmonger. He has worse range. He has worse health. His attacks have almost no tracking. And for whatever reason, like his bash mix-up is like the easiest to dodge in the whole game. So that's what it is. We're going to go to Gladiator. A-. Still good punishes out of stamina. With the double heavies, can get that a lot. Got an unblockable, got a toe stab, and his dodge attacks have hella iframes. Can keep you at range really well too. Just always an annoying fight to fight a gladiator. It's just, it's very annoying. It's a slow-paced affair, typically speaking. But yeah, Glad kind of thrives off the fact that it's hard to get big damage on him, and he can potentially get big damage on you. Nuxia, we're gonna put her at the top of B-. Nuxia is such an interesting character because she has I've said this so many times, she has the potential to beat anyone just because of her kit. The trap, the 400 MS lights, but her defense is objectively ass. Her dodge attack is a dodge light, and it really doesn't have good iframes on it. But her offense is just such a unique thing in the game. If she had a better dodge attack, she would be like here, honestly. But if you have hyper armor for neutral, you absolutely just piss on Nuxia. She just is super weak to that. We're gonna go with Griffin. We're gonna put him in B+. The thing that Griffin has going for him is the kick mix-up is one of the best offensive tools in the game. That kick mix-up is so powerful because it's unreactable at all levels of play. The only problem is getting to it. I mean, he has a decent dodge attack, but his dodge forward bash is atrocious. I mean, you end up dodge forward. You can do dodge forward light. You can do dodge forward bash. You can dodge forward side light, something like that. Dodge forward heavy. Maybe it'll work. But his neutral game is like Lawbringer. Neutral game is horrible. Chain game is amazing. It's really what it's about. I mean, he's one of those noob stomper characters. If you're playing against people who don't quite know what they're doing yet, Griffin seems like he would be in here, right? But once you have max knowledge of the game, he's really about this. What you're seeing is below average now. Back in the day, if you look at my old tier list, B+ used to be like above average, but we're seeing a power creep in the game. Zanhu, we're going to put him in B- as well. Just unblockable lights are very reactable even to people who don't have good reaction times. You can light him out of his unblockable heavies. He doesn't have a lot of good damage. He doesn't have a lot of health. He's just not a good character. I mean, he has decent range. He's still decent in 4s, actually, but if we're talking just from a 1v1 perspective, Now, this one, I want to put him, like, right here. Honestly, Braden wants to put him at the bottom of A tier. Braden also mains Jing Jun as well. Braden is Caelid. I don't know if you know. We had a disagreement about this. Or at least I have a different perspective on this. So it's my list. I'm going to put him at the top of A-. But Brayden, who's the best duelist in the game on console, would put him at the bottom of A. Now, the reason for this is the unblockable that Jing Jin has is one of the best in the game. It's soft fainted. It has insane damage. And because of Sifu stance, it's inconsistent to even punish it. Like, it's a read to even punish it, which I understand. Neutral game is garbage. But the more I think about it, I mean, it's not garbage, actually. It's not bad. He's got a bash. He's got good hyper armor from neutral. And then the zone, if he gets the zone off the unblockable, actually is even stronger. He also has an insane health pool, too. So he can afford to take, these same... Oh, I'll just, go into this again. I'll just eat this, I'll go for my heavy from neutral because I'm okay with eating damage because I got 140 health. But because of that ease, it's kind of difficult to get into that unblockable, making those reads, more crucial to make. I personally am just going to put him at the top of A-. However, I just wanted to let you guys know that. Black Prior A. Having Stampaw's Bash is not as strong as it once was, obviously, but it is still nice because it limits the amount of attacks guys can throw on you. That is always a great tool. He still has the flip. He still has CCs. He's still got that undodgeable. He's still got the unblockable. Still a lot of tools to mix you up. Is he the monster he once was on console? Absolutely not. Used to be an undisputed S tier. Because of the new changes, he's dropped down to A tier. Still meta. Still meta in the 1v1 game mode. Not what he was. Let's go with Shaolin. Shaolin used to be C tier for the longest time ever. That sweep is extremely strong. In my opinion, I think if you have a feinable sweep, if you dodge the sweep, you should get a guard break. I think that would be balanced. That would be the one nerf I would do to Shaolin. You shouldn't be able to follow it up if you whiff a sweep that's freaking feinable. But that's where we're at now. I'm going to put him in A tier, even with that. He just doesn't have a great stam pool, which is the thing that holds him back. I mean, he's one of those characters, though, that he feels like BP back in the day, where he has the tools to win almost any situation. He gets into key stance, he can deflect you. He gets into key stance, he can, CC it. He gets into key stance, he can dodge out of it, There's a lot he can do, and of course, you can always just do his mix-up. He's one of those characters that has just so much potential, and a character like my buddy Hammer, who's the number 1 shaman on the Angela series, he's been playing Monk a lot, and he's just been doing beastly with him. And I'm sure lots of guys in the competitive scene are, just making him look like the best character in the game. But yeah, that really has suffered from the power creep. He used to be a top 10, top 5 duelist when he was first dropped. And that was when, zone option selects were in the game. It was a lot slower paced. And he could kind of whittle you down with chip damage and whatnot and play really, really passive. That does not work in the modern For Honor anymore. You need to have unblockables. You need to be fast-paced. These fights are just faster in general. There's more offensive reads in general. And Tiani's offense is just, lack for a better way, it's underwhelming. He's still all right in terms of stalling, but he's just one of those characters that he's just not good anymore. He just isn't, right? Honestly, arguably, his best move is going to be his dash forward hyper armor heavy. But Pirate has the same thing but better as its unblockable. It's literally just a better version. Obviously, him doing after a bash is strong, but, Tiani's pretty weak. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Warmonger, essentially, at lower levels, he's going to be here. He's a little bit of a noob stomper. But at actual level, we're going to put him right there, or her right there. Not a lot to say about that. Let's go with Warlord, A tier, still A tier. We're gonna put him right here. It keeps getting stronger with the things to stay. Warlord is such an odd guy. Headbutt is still arguably the best offensive tool in the entire game in terms of its lethality and hit rate. Enhanced lights, good frame. He doesn't have a dodge attack, is what really holds him back. If Warlord gets a dodge attack, he might go straight to S tier. At least top of A tier. He's so, that's the only thing that's holding him back because he's rather weak to unblockables. He's got to make hard reads on unblockables. Now, he does have that dash forward heavy, which can be used as a select of sorts, which I kind of innovated that back in the day.
So he still has that, which is pretty unique to him. Pirate also has access to that as well, and so does Tiandi. But his is pretty darn good. Goodness.
Zerk, we're going to put him at the bottom of A tier. One of those characters you can use into PC players as well. You could use Warlord into PC players as well because of the offense. But Zerk has unreactable offense, both with the unblockable and his feint to lights, the hyper armor lights as well. Just a low health pool. It's the same things. Low health pool, shit range as well. So you're going to be kind of like playing up the back foot, especially at the start of interactions. You don't get to choose typically, unless you kind of like walk towards them with hyper armor. But an experienced player is just going to back off that and let you tire yourself out. We're going to go with Valkyrie. C tier, undoubtedly C tier. Valk has been hit by a power creep. She used to be very average, and her offense is just bad. I mean, with everybody having dodge attacks nowadays, she really thrived off of characters that don't have dodge attacks. What's really funny is Valk, in my opinion, might even have matchup against Warlord. Or maybe not have matchup, but it's actually really close just because of how her kit works into Warlord. Same against Scent. Same against Yorm. Fighting a Valkyrie with those characters is so ass because you don't have a dodge attack. But more and more characters are getting dodge attacks now, and it just makes her offense just all the worse. Highlander, I'm actually going to move him up to B-. Now, he is undoubtedly a below-average character. However, offensive stance lights work on every single person in the game, and you can kind of thrive off that. Also, Celtic Curse. Like, he just has a lot of things that have a lot of situational use, better than, most everyone. Is he strong? No. Is he bottom 3? I don't think so either. There's people that do find success with them, and there's a reason for that, Shaman also been hit by a power creep very hard. She has all the theoretical tools, you know what I mean, to win it, but it's just they never seem to just have the value that they should. It seems like Shaman is always working so much harder for her damage than everyone else is, First S tier on the list is going to be Raider. Now, what's interesting about Raider is he actually, I think there's characters that have matchup into him that aren't in S tier. Pirate, for example, definitely has matchup into Raider. I think Conqueror has matchup into Raider. And you could argue that Warlord has matchup into Raider. However, Raider is in S tier, and this is where I think the modern game is in a pretty good state, balance-wise. Raider is S tier just because of the sheer value of that unblockable. It can turn you land just one of those, you get a couple GPs, all of a sudden Raider's just right in the fight. And the fact that he has tap, the fact that he has hyper armor heavies, his offense is just so strong that even against characters that have a lot of counters to his offense, he's still just one or two good reads away from being right back in a fight, and that's why we're going to put Raider in S tier. Speaking in the exact it absolutely gutted what was left of Yorm. Still has some ways to get off decent punishes, but that potential to 0 to 100 you out of stam has unequivocal. I used to not think Yorm was the worst player in the game. Now I think, without a doubt, Yorm is the worst duelist and overall player in the game. Another C tier, we're going to put Kensei below Valkyrie, but above Yorm. And definitely above Yorm. At least he has Pommel Strike and Unblockable. Obviously Yorm has Unblockable. But when you're based around, just getting out of stamina, that's tough. We're going to put Roach. We're going to have him in A-. We're going to put him above Warden, but between Peacekeeper. If you can't block, Roach is like S tier. Roach is a noob stomper of the highest order. But if you can, and especially there's people who can parry or block Storm Rush consistently, offensive options go down to Unblockable and the kick mix up there. Obviously, his zone is very strong as well, too, to get that heavy hits done. But Roach is just right in the middle of that pack. That's where I would put him. Very appropriate. It is kind of difficult for Roach to get damage against people with high reaction times. Shigoki, we're going to put him in A tier. Just slap him down right there. One of the stronger characters in the game. Even though that, there's characters that he doesn't have matchup into, I'd say, like Shaolin, Pirate. I would say even Orochi you could consider he doesn't have matchup into. But, Shinobi he gets slapped by as well.
But, just a generally strong kit with that headbutt, good health pool. He can heal. One of the few characters besides Shaman that can heal during games. Just a good, general, strong kit. Now we're going to go to the complete opposite side of that spectrum. We're going to go to Nabushi, and she makes the bottom 5. To some very few amount of people, her kick mix-up is reactable. Most people can't, though. But either way, her offense is abysmal, and her defense takes so much work. We're going to go Musha. We're going to put Musha in A tier, towards the bottom end of A tier. On PC, he works into people on PC, by the way. S tier into PC people. But because of the way that console works, he just doesn't get a lot of damage for his value. For his offensive reads he has to make, and you're kind of always going to be on the back foot and making sure that they're not dodge attacking, they're not interrupting you. So yeah, you got to have pretty high reaction times to get the full potential out of this character, but a high potential it is. And then our 2 remaining guys, we got Shinobi and S tier. Great range, amazing mix-ups. That double dash has so many properties that allows Shinobi to have such an advantage over his opponents. And then finally, Hitakiri, also in S tier. Variably timed heavies. Her, variably timed bash is also exceptional as well, and a great health pool at 140. Hitakiri is just one of them strong characters. Doesn't have matchup disadvantage over a lot of people. And then Meije. Where would I put Meije? Well, his 2-axe stance against high-tier people is really not that lethal. It's more about chip damage like Aramusha, which is okay. Into people that don't have good reaction times, I'd say he's like A tier, maybe A minus. But if you do have good reaction times, I would put him right in the middle of B plus. The bash stance is, the two sword stance has that bash, only 9 damage, and the unblockable. The unblockable is solid, but you got to get to it. I put him right about B plus. Right around here, so right around that below average. Probably a little bit better than, maybe worse than Griffin. Yeah, in between like Tiandi and Griffin is where I would put Meije for top tier duels. So yeah, it's been this video. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of it, and can help impact your decision making, boys. So y'all have a good one.